It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Monday, July 22nd. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom, brought to you by Wyoming Senior Olympics, reminding you that this year's Summer Olympics starts July 31st in Cheyenne and volunteers are needed. Become a volunteer today at wyomingseniorolympics.org. Well, on the national political stage, 2024 will go down in history as the year President Joe Biden bowed out of his run for re-election. None of Wyoming's congressional delegation were surprised at the move. Politics reporter Leah Wolfson spoke to Senator Cynthia Lummis about the turn of events.
Senator Lummis said she wasn't surprised by the result, and she sees it as kind of a confirmation that President Joe Biden is unable to hold the position of president, and she believes it should raise questions about whether he should even serve the rest of his term through January.
Wyoming Democrats last week expressed a mix of thoughts about whether Biden should stay in the race. Joe Barbuto, chairman of the Wyoming Democratic Party, said Biden's decision to step down only increased his respect for him. A contract worker in Yellowstone National Park is facing a potential year in prison on claims that she jumped onto a park ranger and punched him repeatedly when he tried to separate her from her abusive boyfriend in June. 20-year-old Chloe Tullis was indicted on a federal assault charge Thursday. Her boyfriend, 19-year-old Elliot Daughtry, had been convicted in early June of punching Tullis, according to Crime and Courts reporter Claire McFarland.
Drawdy was in the middle of an assault case for attacking Tullis in a domestic altercation. And during his prosecution, he wasn't supposed to be around her, court documents say. The agent in charge of the case knew that, but then saw Drawdy get into a car with Tullis, allegedly. And that was when the fireworks started. Tullis is said to have gotten out of the car, yelled at the ranger, pointed fingers at him, ultimately tackling and punching and grabbing his duty belt, according to the court documents.
The ranger that Tullis assaulted suffered lacerations, bruising, and torn clothing. Tullis has been in jail since June 18th. Witnessing an eruption of Steamboat Geyser in Yellowstone National Park is a once-in-a-lifetime event. But it can also be a one-of-a-kind nightmare for anyone who parked near the world's tallest active geyser when it went off last week, according to Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi.
When Steamboat Geyser sent water 300 feet into the air, it shot geyser water onto their vehicles. And when that water evaporates, it leaves behind dissolved silica, which is notoriously difficult to get off. I've heard of rangers who have had their vehicles ruined because they parked in those spots when Steamboat erupted, and you never know when Steamboat's going to erupt. It could be tomorrow, it could be 50 years from now. That's the range we're talking about. So it's an ever-present threat.
Steamboat Geyser can send water up to 400 feet into the air when it erupts. That makes it the tallest active geyser in the world and a potential hazard for anyone nearby. I'll be back in just 15 seconds with more news.
In southwest Wyoming, wide open space is waiting. This is how we explore it. In Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming. Plan your adventure at explorewy.com.
How do you put a lid on hell itself? How do you tame an oil inferno or an incendiary woman? Ask the Hellfighters.
It's been 56 years since Hollywood legend John Wayne visited Casper to film Hellfighters, but locals still talk about it. The movie featured an elite hotshot crew of oil rig firefighters and filmed some of its most spectacular scenes in Wyoming, according to Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck.
In 1968, the Duke showed up in Casper, and it was an exciting time because there was pyrotechnics, there was actors and actresses, there was a film set on the southwest side of Casper, and they shot 1/3 of the movie called The Hellfighters. And I talked to some people that were involved in that, including a young man who had a ranch just next to where the movie set was, rode his pony over there. Him and a buddy would ride and sneak up into the rocks and kind of interrupt the filming.
A special showing of the movie for locals who were extras was shown at the America Theater in Casper on December 20th, 1968. The movie received mixed reviews at its release. The best hardware store helping, rooster herding, upside down head standing dog around is a Border Collie Golden Retriever mix named Coop, and he's got the door greeter position at the A to Z hardware store in Pinedale locked up tight. Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean says Coop does more than help welcome shoppers, he'll help them shop.
Coop likes to hang out at the front of the store. That's so he can watch all the customers coming in, and then he follows them around the store as they're shopping. The minute they've got a package in their hand, he's like nudging their hand, letting them know, hey, I'm ready, I'm here. Let me take your package to the register for you. He'll just trot right up there to the cash register and drop it on the counter for the cashier.
Coop is well paid for his work. He gets all the petting and the Scooby snacks any dog could ask for. The year has not been kind for Chris and Kathy Hoover of Cheyenne. First, a 100-year-old pine tree fell on their house, completely demolishing it. Then, out of the ruins, Chris's prized 1977 Gibson Les Paul guitar was stolen. Now, Cowboy State Daily's Jake Nichols reports that everything possible is being done to find the Cheyenne musician's well-loved vintage guitar.
There were only 550 made in the year he bought it, 1977. He bought it the month it came out, and he played the heck out of it. It's a worn guitar. Cheyenne PD's involved. Of course, every pawnbroker has been alerted. This is going to be a difficult guitar to, it's pretty hot, as they say, to offload. So hopefully the thieves will do the right thing. Hopefully they won't panic and just toss it.
Chris is just awaiting the day he gets that phone call that tells him the guitar has been found. For now, the family is relying on the power of today's internet connectedness. The more the word spreads, the hotter that guitar will get. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.